Good morning. Hey guys. I wanted to talk about a topic that's been discussed lately, and it's about hurt people. You ever heard of the saying, hurt people hurt people? Well, it's really true. Hurt people do hurt people. And the best way to understand what a hurt person's mentality is if you look at a drowning victim. Somebody is about to be drowned and you see a lifeguard going out to save them. They tend to, in trying to save themselves, they start like bringing you down. They'll start wrapping their legs around you and trying to do everything in order to save themselves. But what hurt people don't realize, and acting off of that hurt, when you act off of those hurt feelings, they're generally being fueled by ego. And when you do act on those impulses, you are creating more karmic situations for yourself, negative karmic situations for yourself. And if just look back in your life, look at trials and tribulations that you went through and regarding things like that. And if you acted that way, what was the end results? So, sometimes you have to, as a person that's not hurt, you have to find a safe distance from those people that are hurt, so they're not bringing you down in the process. Like, you may want to help somebody. In your heart of hearts, you truly may want to help somebody feel whole. But it's not going to benefit you if you helping them, y'all both end up down in the process. Like, then who's going to help who at that point? So you have to guard yourself. When you are putting yourself in a position to help others, you have to make sure that you're not hindering yourself in the process. This has been a lesson, a lifelong lesson for me, because many times I've often put others and happiness, feelings, and everything before mine, because I was so resilient and I can handle so much. Like, I didn't care. Like, I'll take on this extra weight that I really shouldn't have been taking on. And it wasn't until I was almost drowned by a drowning victim that I was trying to save that I really finally got this message. Like, you have to be able to safeguard yourself. You cannot help somebody if you're not helping yourself first. And that's also, you could take that in any facet of life. If you don't love yourself, you can't love somebody else. If you don't care for you, you can't really expect somebody to care for you. If they do, you're not going to appreciate it. Why? Because you don't know what that looks like. It's not until you start caring for you and doing things for you will you actually know and see and feel the difference. And a lot of times in life, we like to blame the other person, the hurt person, when we're trying to help them, and then they're not receiving the help in the way that we want them to receive it. But we also have to take in consideration, when you come into a position of like being a healer or light worker or whatever term you want to use for yourself, you have to realize in that light work, there's going to be situations where you feel like all the light is being drained from you and there's no light left. If that is the situation, then you need to recharge. You need to back up and find out. Because sometimes as you're healing or helping others heal, it will open up things that you had deep within you that you did not discard. There's sometimes you think you're over issues until when you start helping someone else heal, and then they'll rehash things that you were going through. And you have to face your own demons, and you have to face your own issues, and you still have to be able to give a response that is not going to go in line with maybe some of your dysfunction. You will give them the high road, so you can build from each other. Because as they start taking the high road, you will take the high road, and vice versa. Or as they see you taking the high road, they will take the high road. But healing is a two-way street. It doesn't, like most people think that when you come to somebody, like I have not met that one person that, like when I was when I was at work and other places, every counselor situation that we were in, the counselors had counselors. What does that tell you? You know what I mean? Everybody at some point in time has to heal from something. Nobody is like totally whole like that I've met on this planet. Because, especially in this country, they'll make sure that you have some type of insecurity issues by the time you get older, if you allow them. So with that, knowing that no one's perfect, knowing that everybody there at some point is going to need to heal, that, that's gonna happen. So my whole thing is, what's the wisdom in it all? What wisdom has been gained through your life experiences? Can you share that wisdom with others? And that's what really counts, because we live in a world where a lot of people don't like to share their wisdom. They don't like to, because they are always afraid that somebody else is gonna get a leg up. I'm not that individual. I don't care about that, because I know what is for me is for me. So I never feel like, I'm not going to say I've never in my lifetime, because I have before in my life, but I've grown past that, because I see the things that I'm saying to you right now. What is for you is for you. Nobody could take what's yours. What is for you is for you, and it will be there as long as it's supposed to be there for you. So as long as you walk with knowing that, you really can't feel like you have to be in competition with anybody. I'm my only competition, you know what I mean? In that regards, I don't need any outside sources of validation or anything like that. So it's like, in the process of healing and healing others, you have to make sure that you stay grounded. You have to make sure that you are not following ego impulses, in your dealings. You gotta be sure that you're not taking on a holier than thou attitude, because you're not gonna help anybody that way. Like, the way I help people is by being truthful and honest in my sessions. I don't sugarcoat situations. I don't, none of that. I'll keep it 100 with you. If you ask me a question, you ask me what I learned from a situation, I'm gonna tell you. Why? Because I'm not a person that is afraid to say I made mistakes in life. Like, for what? We all make them. Like, why would I feel some kind of way? That doesn't make any type of sense. So I do what I do because I know how it feels to be in that place of when you don't have somebody to talk to, or when you don't have somebody that's going to help you make it to that next stage. And when you do have somebody and they do help you help you make it through that next stage, you're thankful, and then you aspire to be that same person for someone else, because you know how critical that person was for you in coming in your life. I was thankful for when I was going through like a serious situation, and it was like no one really understood what I was going through but one person. And they were able to help me get from that place. And I love my sister to this day for that. Lex, she was there for me in a way that was not oppressive, in a way that she wasn't trying to force her ideologies on me. She was sharing her wisdom, and she helped me get to a place where I can open up and freely express myself, and I can freely help other people without having reservations or feeling like, because before there were times where I felt like, I'm tired of helping people, because every time I help somebody, there's always some negative response or something happens. Like, I even give you this past year's example. Like, I took in some children that were, they were sleeping in a cemetery. Like, they were teenagers living in laundromats, all kinds of, these are my son's friends, so they're not just random kids that I just picked up off the street or anything like that. But I brought them into my home, and these same kids stole from me. These same kids that I fed, clothed, everything, washed clothes for, everything you could possibly think of, and they stole from me. And I felt some kind of way until those kids came back and apologized. And when they came back and apologized, and it was sincere, like, and I didn't care anymore. That TV, it didn't matter anymore. The lesson that they learned from stealing from me counted more, because they dealt with the repercussions and the karma of their ways from dealing with it. I didn't have to press charges. I didn't have to go send the squad out on them. None of that, and all of those things did cross my mind at one point. I'm not even going front. I was upset, but then I thought about it. It's material. You know what I mean? And went out and bought another TV. Like, it could be replaced. But the wisdom that those kids gain from taking from somebody that would give them the clothes off, everything off the bat, and the repercussions from those acts, the wisdom from that was worth more than I spent on that TV. And I'm glad that I can give them that experience. You know what I mean? So in helping people, you are going to get beat up. You are going to get bruised. You are going to go through things. But don't allow that to stop you. And don't think that just because those things happen, that your intended message is not being received. Because I will tell you right now, all of those kids that I helped, they received that message, and, and I'm not going to front. It really did bother me. And the reason it bothered me, because I'm going to keep it real. That was the first item that I bought when I moved out here. And I moved out here during some really tough times. And when I bought that, I was like, this is a big ticket item. I'm going to spend money on this. And because I'm not a materialistic person, I don't spend that much money on TVs or anything like that. That's just not me. But I felt that I wanted to get me something. And when I did that and it got taken away, and then it got taken away by children, I learned a big message from that, a huge one. And my whole premise and the reason for existence to me is, like, I'm a teacher. I love children. That's why I keep my youth, because I'm around children most of the time. And if buying that TV, like, my life purpose is about teaching children. If buying that TV and for it to get stolen taught kids some serious life lessons, then it was worth it. I don't care anymore. And I have another one. It can be replaced as material. But that wisdom that was bestowed on those children is going to last longer. So hurt people, will hurt people. And those kids were hurt. And they only knew about survival. They stole my TV because once they had to go, they had to figure out what's the next step. Where am I going next? So, okay, I'm going to steal this TV, sell it, and get some money. Hurt people hurt people. You know what I'm saying? But they wasn't thinking about the ramifications. Like, I'm really taking this from somebody who is really struggling to make ends meet. You know what I mean? Like, I had, in addition, now mind you, I have my own 2 teenagers. I had 5 teenagers. And I was really, like, when I tell you, I was taking them to schools, trying to get them back in school, get them jobs. I had used my personal resources to try to help these kids. So it was really a serious blow. And I was really about to say, you know what, forget it. I don't want to deal with this nonprofit, all this other stuff. But then my mother gave me some words of wisdom. She said, keep the same heart. She said, just don't run a nonprofit out of your home. You know what I'm saying? So simple, And I was like, oh, yeah. Why didn't I think of that? So I had to learn to what? Set boundaries. So this is what this topic is about. Hurt people hurt people. And how do you let go? And so if you hurt them back, that's perpetuating the karmic cycle. It'll keep going and going and going and going and going. So at what point do you just take that loss like I did? And I've learned that fighting with fire is not always the answer. So in my older years, I'm more humble in my approach. Like, before, I was tit for tat. You say something to me, I'm coming right back at you. But now I look at the bigger picture. But is me responding negatively gonna bring out the highest good, or is it gonna perpetuate a further karmic cycle? So what I do is unsavory situations, I distance myself until I gain a greater clarity and understanding. Doesn't mean I hate the person. Doesn't mean that I don't want the person around. It just means that this current gesture, in this current junction, I have to figure out which direction and how should I move forward with this type of situation. And I don't understand. I do understand because I used to think like that, but I wasn't to that extreme. So I just, certain people come into your life, and when they do things, sometimes it be a magnification of what you do, and it has to be magnified, because if it was on the same level, you will co-sign it. But the fact that it's magnified so you can see yourself, like the magnified mirror on, you have two sides of some beauty mirrors. The magnified part is so you can see all of the blemishes. Just like those people that come in and show you all of your stuff magnified. So you can fix that within you, not try to fix that within them. So a lot of times, some situations, I don't even try to help the person. I look at that as something I need to fix within me. Like, I can't fix something in you if I haven't fixed it in me first. So, sometimes those situations are times for you to internalize that and look at yourself and see what part of my personality do I need to discard. When people tell you stuff, is there any truth in it? If there's any truth, then make those changes. If not, then ignore it. I don't respond to people. I don't respond through competition. None of that tick for tat, none of that stuff. If it applies, I make adjustments. If it doesn't apply, I ignore it. Why? Because it has no bearing on my life. See, a lot of people put a lot of attention in stuff that don't matter. Like things and situations that don't matter, make sure they don't matter. Don't think about it. Don't talk about it. Don't be consumed about it. Just ignore it. Pretend it doesn't exist if it need be. But if people are not going to respect you and your boundaries, you have to distance yourself. Why? Because people that don't respect boundaries are hurt people, and they will hurt you. And it's not all the time. Sometimes it's intentional and sometimes it's not. But I just know that if I come across a person that is in a healing process, I do not disturb them. I do not try to get in a relationship with someone and I feel like they're going through a healing process. Why? Because I know the repercussions. I've already been there. You have to allow people the time and the space to heal. You have to allow yourself the time and space to heal. And it you might heal faster than others. It might take you 3 weeks, whereas it takes somebody 3 years. But whatever that time is, give them that same space. Give them that same respect that you want for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, just think of yourself. If you was that person, do you want to be treated that way? And that's how I conduct myself. And it's like, if I'm struggling with something, there's only a close few friends that I go and I talk to about certain situations. I don't go and badmouth people and nothing. The only thing I do is, if I need something, for clarity, there's certain few people that I go to for clarity. And I'll talk through my issues, and then I'll come up with my own understanding. We'll talk about it. No one can force me into any way of thinking. And I don't try to force other people into any ways of thinking. You see things for yourself. If you see it, you see it. If you don't, you don't. It's not meant for you. Now, if people would take that approach, we would have a happier life. Like, people are so inclined, like, I want you to bow down to me, so I'm going to wreak havoc in all your life to make sure that you do. That's selfish. And those people, they will reap what they sow for things like that, and it's sad, so okay, so I know in the past I've been telling y'all, this cycle right now that we're going in, cosmically, is a reflection of things we went through in 2012 and 2014, whatever karmic cycles revolved around then. And when you go back and you reflect on those times, for me, in 2012 and 2014, I was going outside looking for validation. Fast forward to 2017, I internalized that energy. I don't seek outside validation. I seek to validate me. Because once you validate you, there's no need for outside validation. Why? Because we're all individuals. How can somebody outside of you validate you if you're not nowhere the same? There's no, you're there. I promise you, I don't care if you're an identical twin to somebody. You're still different than your sibling. You know what I'm saying? Because we're all like snowflakes in that regard. So why are you looking for another snowflake to validate you? They're only going to validate you based on their snowflakiness. You know what I'm saying? So you can't do that. So this time in 2014, in 2012, I was ego ruled. Those relationships were superficial. It was ego based. It was competitive. All of those things I'm telling you about, the reason I can speak about them is because I already lived them. I can't talk to you about something I haven't already experienced and been beat up from. If I've been beat up from doing something, I'm like, hey, if you go down that path over there, there's a hole. I'm gonna let you know. You know what I'm saying? And so from trying to look for validation from outside, it left me feeling cold, depleted. The people that really cared about me, I had no feelings for them. And I cared about people that had no feelings for me. And it was just horrible. It was just like a big mess. But when you fast forward to 2017 and I watched all the lessons learned, I chose to what? Be still this year. I'm doing something different. I've always been impulsive, like, all right, this is not working. I'm out. I gotta go, you know. But this time, 2017, I chose to be still. And in choosing to be still, I've been bestowed with the greatest gift ever. You know what I'm saying? I wish I would have chose to be still earlier, you know. But you know, I just wanted to share that with y'all. You know, be careful when dealing with hurt people. You don't realize how they can hurt you, but make sure you set safe boundaries, you know, and let them know that you love and you care for them. If you truly do, you know, let them know that. But also let them know that you have boundaries and you're going to maintain those boundaries. Because if you don't maintain those boundaries, I promise you, you will end up like those people that was dealing with me in 2012 and 2014. Like, I was in no position to be dating anyone. You know, it wasn't until I sat and got by myself. That was like at the end. It was until like 2015 that I finally get it right. As far as not needing external validation, where I could finally stand in my power and be true to who I was, you know. And I'm a better person because of my life experiences. So, you know, well, I just wanted to share that with you because it was like the topic kept coming back up and people were talking about it and people were going through the similar cycles that I was going through. But like I said, just because a hurt person has hurt you, like those children, doesn't mean for you to give up on your dream. I'm not going to give up on trying to put this nonprofit together because some of the kids that I'm trying to help stole from me. That gave me even more motivation. Why? Because they're showing and proving to me why this nonprofit is needed. So things like this won't happen. So they don't feel the need to have to take from somebody. They can understand their individual power. But I had to get to this place that I am today in order to continue. So I had to slow down and put the brakes on my organization and realize and really see the nature of the issues and the problems and how was I going to address it on a real holistic level. Because, you know, you can't just, like, it takes a village to raise a child. You can't do it by yourself. And that's what I learned in trying to run a nonprofit from my home. Like, no matter how good intended you are, you can get hurt in the process if you don't have that strength. And the biggest strength that was missing is the male presence. You know, because these were males mainly. It was one female, but the rest were all males. And by not having a male there to tell them, look, this is what you do and this is how you not do, and, you know, things like that, that presence is missing from our communities. Like, a lot of men don't see their value, but before they can help, they got to go through the process like I told you I had to go through. They have to stop trying to find all this external validation. And if that same validation that they sought, if they sought it from the children in their neighborhood or their communities or in their own lives, we wouldn't have these issues that we have. Like, we all just need to get back into the organic family building. Like, we don't do that as people. It's like, let's get back to our communities. I'm going to give you an example. It was so funny. Yesterday, right, I saw this elderly couple, and they were coming from the store. So, and I saw that they were either going to be walking or taking a bus. So I did a U-turn, and I asked them if they needed a ride. And at first, they was like taken aback because it was a white couple, and, and they didn't expect me to respond like that. It was all over their face. They couldn't hide the way they felt, but they really needed the ride, so they accepted the ride. And when they told me where they lived, I was like, oh, so we're neighbors, And I told them where I live, and I dropped them off where they live. And we talked about the importance of community building. We talked about the importance of why we need to have experiences like that in our neighborhood. We talked about the divide between the senior citizens and the younger people in this town. Because in the town that I live in, it's predominantly elderly community. There's, the elders are the majority in this community. And being that they are, and there's so many young people that are struggling, like, there's a lot of retired people, and then there's a lot of people that's struggling with things like childcare and different things like that. Why? Because there isn't any community building going on. So you have to go outside of your home, and you have to start building the community. And I do that with everybody in my community. That's just an example of just what happened yesterday. But no matter who they are, like, mainly like the children in this neighborhood, they love coming to my house. They love my smoothies and nachos and things like that. Like, I teach them how to eat holistically without them knowing that's really what they're doing. And we have a lot of fun. We still haven't worked on our vision boards yet, because we're still trying to get more magazines to, it's not like back in the day where you could just pick up magazines and everybody has them. So we need more magazines to complete our vision boards. And once those are done, I will share them with y'all so you can see how the kids, and out here what they see and what they vision for their future. And, just get out into your neighborhood, commune more. And those that are being hurt, revel in the beauty. Look at everybody else. Stop focusing on whatever it is that hurt you. If it could be fixed, repaired. If it can't, find some type of resolve in it. But don't allow that to make you bitter. You know what I mean? Because it's like, one monkey doesn't stop the show. And it's like, for every person that makes you frown, there's someone else that can make you happy. But that someone should be you. If you're that person that makes you happy, then no one can make you frown. If you wake up in the morning and decide that you're going to have a good day, make sure you do that. Don't allow anybody else to control the remote control to your life. Like, that's giving people power over you. You wake up like, yeah, I'm in a good mood. And then someone says something to you and it makes you go in another mood. Guess what? You gave them power. I'm not giving power like that away. I'm not giving anybody power to take away my happiness. Like, no, why do it? Life is too grand to be sitting in a house moping and feeling sad over something that you can't change. Like, work on the things you can change. The one thing you can change is you. Stop trying to change people. Once you change you, the people will change in one shape, form, and fashion. They'll either change out of your life, or their vibrations will raise right along yours. But whatever it is, embrace it, accept it, All right, guys, I have some homeschooling to do. I just wanted to share that little bit with you before I get back over here and check on their progress. But enjoy your day.